and welcome to the Brazilian BA guest. We have a different guest here every week. Please, if this is the first time you come to this channel, subscribe to it, click on the bell, be my guest to see all other interviews here as well. But today I have a very special guest, someone who have helped to shape the profession of business analysts and is still helping all of us. This person is Barbara Carkenord. Hello, Barbara. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Fabrizio. I'm happy to be here.
It's totally my pleasure. Barbara, I have a question for you today. The question is, why should BAs be involved in strategic planning?
Great question. Great question. I have been really talking about this and thinking about this for the last couple years because I'm working with a lot of companies who have strategic plans, but for some reason, they're not really able to execute on them. And what strikes me is that sometimes our executives are not as analytical as the typical BA might be. So sometimes I think they haven't thought through the plan as carefully as we might do it. In the BA box, there's a whole knowledge area called strategy analysis. And the BAs are very good at thinking about pros and cons and different aspects and perspectives. And it makes sense that we could be huge contributors to both building the plan and also to help the organization execute on it. Because when we're working on our day-to-day projects and changes in our organizations, we have to do everything that's in alignment with the plan. So I'm really advocating, and I'm seeing it happen in some of the smaller companies where BAs have become very trusted advisors and internal consultants, that they are a key player in helping to design the strategic plan and then communicate it out. The other thing is we're really good communicators. So we can be people who explain the strategic plan to the rest of the organization and help them understand how their work supports it. I just think we could be the key to a lot more success in organizations if we got more involved in the strategic planning process.
I see that everyone, as the BA Walk Guide have defined this, everyone who's practicing business analysis or doing some business analysis task may be called a business analyst. And should the executives be also considered business analysts? Should they be learning business analysis, or should they be relying on someone else, a business analyst professional, an expert in business analysis to do that job? How do you see those two options for organizations?
That's a great question, Fabrizio. I do think that many executives have strong analysis skills and that they use business analysis all the time. If you think about doing cost benefit analysis and making decisions about mergers and acquisitions and new product development, those are all analysis kinds of activities that they do. And some of them are maybe really good at it, and some of them could learn to be better at it. I would love to see some executives join the IIBA and learn more about, how I think there's sometimes a perception that either you're analytical or you're not. And I disagree with that. I think people can learn to be more analytical by learning a lot of the techniques that we have, and practicing doing some of the analysis that we do, like building process models and capability models and things like that. So yes, I think executives need to have business analysis skills. They also have a lot of other skills. And so I think bringing in professional business analysts to help them can be very beneficial. The other thing I see, when you're doing strategic planning, and we just did a 3-year strategic plan for the IIBA, you have a lot of conversations with a lot of people. Well, by golly, that's facilitation, which business analysts are very good at also. So I see executives bringing us in to help facilitate some of the strategic planning conversations and, letting us structure how they go forward. There's just so many things around strategic planning that we can help with. And that's what I'd like to see more executives do. And I'd like to see BAs volunteer, step up and say, hey, I'd like to help.
I have a personal situation where I helped a business entrepreneur to shape his business.
Right.
And at the end of this of that session, I told him, "Oh, I'm amazed about how connected you are with everything that's going around." He had a lot of ideas. He knew what's going on in the business, and he said to me, "And I'm amazed about how you can uh, put that in a structured way. You have
Right.
methods for that."
Right.
So I believe sometimes the business entrepreneur in that situation, or the business executive, have to be connected with everything that's happening around. But we have some methods and analytical
Exactly.
techniques we can apply.
Exactly. Yeah. The task in the BA box, there's a task called analyze current state. And you can, I think we tend to think of it as at a low level, like, oh, there's a change in a particular department, so we need to analyze what they do, and that's valid. But if you think about it at a strategic or enterprise level, you analyze the current state of the business. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Who are our competitors? What is the industry doing? What kind of regulation? And we do that. That's the same type of analysis at a higher level.
Yeah. You mentioned strategic analysis. In the previous version, it was called enterprise analysis.
Right.
And probably that's the area in the BA book guide that changes the most, the knowledge area that evolved the most. And I
Right.
wanted you to tell us a little bit, why did you why did IIBA got this change, made this change from from enterprise analysis to strategy analysis?
That's a good question, Fabricio. I think that we always try to evolve the BOC based on feedback from the community. And that was the knowledge area that I think most people were a little bit unsure about. Because we had the word enterprise, it did sort of imply that strategic level, very high level, analysis. And a lot of our members are saying, I'm not at that high level in the organization. I'm working on a project, or, I'm working on a small initiative. And so what we did was try to reword the work such that you could do it at a high level, a middle level, or a low level. So even if you're working on a single ticket in your IT organization, you can still do what's the current state, what do I want the future state to be, analyze what the change is, and analyze, risk around it. And a lot with what you saw with the last version of the BOC, a lot of it we tried to make it so that those tasks could be used at any level of the organization. I will say, I think sometimes it makes the BOC a little bit harder to understand because, you could be thinking high level or low level, and it takes a little bit to get used to that. But it also makes the BOC very valuable for a broader base of people. Because I truly believe, like you were saying, an executive who's doing strategic planning, they could read that knowledge area and they would understand, yeah, I know this is what I need to do. I need to look at internal factors, external factors, stakeholders. It's the same things that we do on a lower level.
Perfectly. And as an IIBA board member, or maybe the chair of the board,
Yes.
I believe you could help us to understand what value could someone have if they join IIBA as an associated member.
That's a great question. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. I do think that the community of business analysis is so strong and so vibrant, and people are very engaged. And anybody who joins, I think, benefits. And even people, I think, who come to a chapter meeting, maybe they don't really join necessarily at that point, but every time I talk to people that get engaged with us, they get so excited because they feel like, wow, these people are talking about something that I need to do. I want to do better. And because really all jobs in all of our life, even outside of work, right? We do analysis all the time. Should I buy a new car or not? Should I move to a new house? We do business cases all the time. We're always having to make decisions. And ultimately, I think business analysis is a lot about helping you make better decisions. So, I continue to encourage everybody to get engaged, and the IIBA offers things like the BA Back for people that are really intense, BAs. But we also have a lot of white papers, and we have a lot of great webinars. Chapters have great topics at their meetings. And now with the virtual situation, you can go to chapter meetings really anywhere in the world, sitting in your house, which is a great opportunity. And just engagement with other members, and talking about what issues you're running into in your organizations, and maybe getting some ideas for how to help, get things unstuck sometimes in our organizations. It's really a skill set that everybody can benefit from. And that's why I get really excited about it. Sometimes I get carried away, but I was at a doctor's office last week, and he was talking about their computer system and electronic medical records. And, he was talking about how great it was that they can share information with different doctors and labs and things like that. And I was like, yeah, that's what it's all about.
How many great opportunities are there for any professional to use business analysis, right?
Exactly.
So I invite everybody to join our community. It's a very nice community, and you have people so much nice as Barbara, who is with me. Barbara, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Fabricio. Thanks to everyone for listening.